Hey guys, how's it going? Today we have another watch unboxing. This model is a Seiko Presage Cocktail Time. So Seiko has a lineup of models called the Cocktail Time that are all inspired by different cocktails served around the world. And this model is called the Star Bar, which is inspired by a particular cocktail made in Ginza, Tokyo. So let's take a look. And just for the background on Seiko Presage, they are the second highest or second tier lineup of Seiko's watches. The first tier being Grand Seiko, which is their most expensive and best watches, right? And they retail for usually over $2,000. But the Seiko Presage line retails for around 500 to $1,000, and I got this one for about 600. So right in that range there. And I think Seiko Presage is generally a pretty good value. They compete with, if you want to talk about other Japanese watches, they compete with the Orient Star lineup, I would say, in terms of fit and quality and finish. And so this is the box, and then we also have, of course, the manual right here. So Seiko, and there's different caliber movements. This is a mechanical watch, right? I know Seiko is pretty famous for their quartz watches as well, and they're actually the ones who kickstarted the quartz movement. But they also make great lineups of mechanical models, and that's what the Seiko Presage lineup is. And this is the background on this particular model. And of course, you have the Seiko warranty, and this comes with every Seiko, from the Seiko 5s all the way to the high-end Seikos. You always get that one. But yeah, a bit of background on this model here. This one's called the Star Bar, also nicknamed the Honeycomb. And this model is limited. I think it's limited to about 6,000 of this model, which is actually kind of a lot. 6,000 is not actually a small amount or anything, but still, I mean, they're limited. So it's inspired by the Star Bar cocktail, which is honeycomb, which is made with bee honey, I believe. So this gives you a little bit of background. So I have not tried this cocktail, obviously, because I don't live in Tokyo. But it's apparently vodka mixed with honey. So interesting cocktail, the honeycomb. All right, and then you have the box right here, which actually has some interesting texture on it. It feels like the texture you would get on some furniture, actually. This is maybe some faux leather or something like that. It feels like some faux leather, so something you would get on like furniture, which is actually pretty cool, because most boxes, just have a typical texture. This one has kind of a unique one. Let's see. The box is made in China. The watch itself is made in Japan, I believe, because Seiko Presage models being their second highest lineup, I would think that Seiko Presage models are made in Japan, given the price. And yeah, this is a limited edition, although I use limited edition in quotes here because 6,000 is still a lot. And here it is. This is the Seiko Presage Cocktail Time Star Bar limited edition. And it actually comes with two different leather straps. So you have a brown leather strap, and then you have a dark brown. So this one has a texture on it. Looks like a crocodile leather type of texture. And then this one, just no texture at all. So it's cool that they give you two different straps, because not a lot of watches actually give you that extra strap here. So it's cool of Seiko to include it. And let's take it out. And this model is a heartbeat model, which means you can see the open heart, right? And yeah, it's called the Star Bar Honeycomb is the nickname, because as you can see, the dial has the honeycomb kind of texture behind it. So what I really like about Seiko is that the quality of their dials is really second to none, right? I mean, if you're talking about their price point, right, you'd really have to go up into the high ranges of Swiss watches to really get a dial like this. And even for the competing Japanese watches like Citizen or Orient, even if you compare it to those watches, which are also pretty good value, because I think Japanese watches just win on value in general, but even compared to those other brands, I think Seiko still wins on the fit and finish of their dials. Especially for their Presage lineup and the Grand Seiko lineup, really the quality and finish of their dials is just the best at their price point. You can't compete against it, right? I know that my friend who loves Seiko watches, like, he'll talk to you about all day about how grand Seiko watches have a dial, fit and finish are they're up there with all the way up to Patek Philippe and Odd and Elang and Sonet and all those really high-end luxury brands, and Vacheron Constantin, right? He'll talk about how Grand Seiko is, at least when it pertains to the dial, their fit and finish is all the way up there with those high-end Swiss and German luxury brands. And yeah, I do see the amount of hard work that Seiko artisans put into their watches. And if you look at some of the other Seiko Presage lineups, they also have lacquer models as well. So they have white enamel dials, right? So they have all these different artistry, I would say. A lot of their other Seiko Presage models have a lot of artistry on the dials. They put white enamel or blue enamel, and really just at the price point, there's nothing that can compare against it. It's really, you don't get into that with Swiss watches or other luxury watches until like at least the $10,000 range, I would say. So it's pretty impressive by Seiko. And even like the Grand Seiko, the spring drives and stuff like that, just that kind of technology you can't really find in any other watch. So it's just really cool. So yeah, this is you can see the close-up of the Honeycomb dial here, right? The heartbeat movement right here. There is nothing else on the dial except for the open heart. There's no date, no day, no power reserve, nothing else. It says made in Japan right here, which is interesting because a lot of Japanese watches, they don't actually say this. They say Japanese movement here, but they don't say necessarily made in Japan on the front of the dial. So that's kind of cool. But I really like the dial is really amazing. And the size of the crown is really nice and big. So it's easy to use. And then here's the back of it. Seiko Time Corporation, 24 jewels, Japan. Of course, an automatic movement, automatic caliber right there. And you see water resistant 5 bar, 5 ATM, stainless steel, limited edition. And it says limited edition out of 6,000 models. So again, not that limited. There's still thousands and thousands of models out here, but I guess more limited compared to other Seiko watches. So that's what they're talking about here, made in Japan there. And leather strap is comparable to any strap that you would get with a luxury watch, I would say. Yeah, I think it's fairly comparable to the one I got with the Nomos, and the Nomos is a $2,000 watch, so no complaints there. These leather straps are pretty good for the price. So yeah, I would say I like the thickness of this watch. It's not too thick and it's not too big. So this is a 40.5 millimeter diameter, which means it's not a big watch. It's not like a 42, 43 millimeter, and it fits pretty well for me. I think that 40.5 is probably just the right size. It's not too big and not too small. And I really liked watches that are, first of all, I like open heart movements because they really show off the beauty of an automatic or a mechanical movement. But I really do like the understatedness of just having a smaller size, and it's not too loud. Right? I feel like people who wear like these giant watches, especially diver watches, it's just, I don't like that because it's just too loud. And this is a really nice, fine dress watch. And I have another Japanese dress watch to compare. This is my Orient Sun and Moon limited edition model, which is also a open heart model. You can see the difference here. They're both open heart models, but the Orient is bigger. This one is a 42.5, I believe. This is a 40.5. You can see the size difference. And then you can also see the thickness difference as well. The Orient is way more thick, a few millimeters more thick than the Seiko Presage. I would say that the fit and finish, I mean, Orient is really well known for their value as well, so the fit and finish of Orient watches are also really good. But in this case, the dial of the Seiko Presage cannot be beat. It's just, you can see the dial on Seiko Presage and Grand Seiko is, like I said, they rival Swiss watches and luxury watches like way beyond this price range. So I think the dial is not comparable. The Seiko definitely has the better dial here. What I do like about the Orient, and this is around the same price, is about 500 bucks. This one about 600, around the same price. What I do like about the Orient is that the Orient has a sapphire crystal on the glass here, and that definitely helps protect it, right? Whereas the Seiko has hard Lex, which is definitely not as, I mean, yeah, I would definitely prefer having sapphire, right? The problem with hard Lex is that, yeah, you might get some scratches on that. With sapphire, here we go, we have them both ticking now. Whereas I don't have any problem with the Orient, whereas this one I gotta be a little bit more careful because it's using a hard mineral, right? But sapphire is like, yeah, that's pretty hard to scratch. So even though I like the dial of the Seiko Cocktail Time more, I like the styling of the Orient Sun and Moon a little bit more because of the blue and gold color combination, which I really like. And it has an extra complication. It has the Roman numerals on the sides here, which are a nice, elegant touch, I think. And yeah, they're both limited edition, both pretty good value watches. It's hard to really choose one. They both have hacking too, so if I pull the crown out, it's going to stop, as you can see. It's really easy to see that because of the open heart movement, right? And you can see that the open heart stops when I pull out the crown. So this one has hacking, and so does this one, right? So you can see if I pull it out, it's just going to stop. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, you can see the size difference between the two. Which one is better quality? Well, it depends, right? Like I would say they're comparable. The Seiko Presage and this is a higher end Orient actually. This is not the lower end Orient. This is more like an Orient Star level of quality. So Orient Star and Seiko Presage are pretty comparable. They compete around the same price range, and the quality of both are pretty fantastic. But they're both good watches. Hard to choose one. I definitely like the dial and the size of the Presage better, of the Cocktail Time. But the Sun and Moon, yeah, has its charms as well. I mean, yeah, the Orient, yeah, you can see they did put a little bit of, you can see they did decorate the movement right there. Seiko just kind of stamped their name, but Orient kind of put a little bit more decoration on their movement. So I don't know, it's hard to compare. They're both really good watches at this price range. This one also limited edition, except it's more limited than this one. This one only has 1,500 models, and this one is limited to 6,000. So of course this one is more limited. But yeah, both the movements are pretty comparable, I would say. Anyways, guys, that's it. That's the Seiko Presage Cocktail Time Star Bar, and this is the Orient Sun and Moon limited edition. Both of them really good value watches, around the $500, $600 price point. So I would say if you're looking for a great Japanese dress watch with an open heart movement, then yeah, these are both great choices. The dial on the Orient, of course, there's more going on here, right? You have the day-night indicator as well. This one, nothing else other than the open heart. And then the dial of the Sun and Moon is kind of like an understated, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like a blue gradient on the dial. So it's still nice in its own way, even though I feel like the Cocktail Time looks better, but it's still pretty understated in its own way. So anyways, I like them both. Hard to choose one. They're both great Japanese dress watches. So that's it, guys. The Seiko Presage Cocktail Time Star Bar, also called the Honeycomb, and limited to 6,000 models. You can find it for about $500, $600, and just like other Seiko Presage models, I think they will make a great timepiece in your dress watch collection. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. It's a Seiko Presage Cocktail Time Star Bar.